back to Queens Chronicles, the series. As before we start off, I would like to highlight a very important woman in my life as we honor Women's History Month, and that is my amazing mother, Reverend Sabrina Antoinette Mangrum, who has been a pillar in the African American community within the DC metro area, and she continues to minister to people every single day on the importance of having a relationship with God. So many people have been delivered and healed from her ministry, and I just wanted to take this time out to highlight her and her ministry, and we thank you for your selflessness and service to our community. This week, we are discussing sisterhood. So sit back, relax, and talk with us as we talk about the importance of sisterhood. Why do we have sisters? And how has your sisters affected you? How have your sisters created the person that you are today? Welcome back to Queens Chronicles, the series. So today we are talking about a very important topic, a topic that I actually love to discuss, and that is sisterhood. I've really embraced the importance of having sisters in your life within the last 6 or 7 years. During my tenure at Spelman College, which is a historically black college, the #1 historically black college.
Right.
But what so many people affiliate Spelman to, and which is true, is that we are an all women's institution. And one of the things that they pretty much shove down our throats from the moment we walk on the campus is developing that sisterhood, developing that network of friends while you are at school. And I'm grateful for that network because a lot of the people that I met are still my sisters to this day. And I think sisterhood is important, of course, for, you know, personal and similarities and commonalities and things like that. But I also think that what do you do with that sisterhood? Like, how are you, how is your community involvement with that sisterhood? Like, how are you civically engaged in our community with that sisterhood? Like, are you guys just friends because you guys like the same movies, or are you guys friends because you guys both want to see a change in the world? So what is you guys' takes or you guys' experiences on the sisterly relationships that you have in your lives?
Well, I'll say my one and only tattoo is shared with a group of women, and we are a sister circle. And this started back when I was on my 25th birthday. As a matter of fact, I threw what I wanted to just get women together for us to just speak candidly and talk about whatever was on our mind without judgment. So this has gone on up until this point, about 15 years. It has dwindled down to now a select group of people, and we are all very, very serious about our sisterhood. Do we see each other every day? No. We try to get together every other month, but we keep a group meet going. We try to encourage one another. And for everything that your man can't be, you know, I think that a lot of times women who don't rely on other women or don't connect with women, you expect for your man or your partner, mate, or whomever to be your best friend and to be your everything. And the reality is there is a time and place where you just want to be with your sisters, you know, and it kind of hurts my heart when I hear women who say, excuse me, I just can't get along with other women. And that's kind of sometimes makes me feel like it's a form of self-hate. And I do know sometimes people have gone through some experiences, but every woman is not the woman who hurt you. So I think that sisterhood is important. I value it greatly, and I my only tattoo is me and my girlfriends.
Yeah, I think I'm learning, you know, how to appreciate sisterhood. You know, I'm a loner, you know, by nature, and I am,
Wow.
and that's who I've always been. I like to be that person. But as I've gotten older, you know, I've recognized the fact that, you know, you need to have someone, like you said. You know, my husband can't be my everything, you know, and so I need to kind of find that sister or that female who can be that other person. And I mean, iron sharpens iron, you know, and so I look for someone, you know, when we talk about sisterhood, who's going to make me better than I am, you know, who I can make better than they are. I mean, to me, that's kind of like that circle. You know, if I can't offer something to your life, you can't offer something to my life. What is it? It's got to be more than we just like the same movie or we like to eat the same place. I mean, so there's got to be something that you contribute to make me grow. But sisterhood, it's new for me. You know, that's really a new concept for me in terms of embracing it.
Wow.
Yeah, I actually think that's something that I've really adapted to or accepted to, is that, you know, when it comes to not just sisterhood, but just basic friendships, like, what can you contribute to the friendship? You know, if I am always the one that is, and I don't mind, you know, being your counselor and giving you advice and praying for you and supporting you, but, you know, and I'm not saying that it's always going to be, what can you do for me, but I'm just saying, I'm at a place in my life where if we are friends, how are you contributing to the relationship? Same for intimate relationships. If I am your girlfriend or whatever, you know, just like you wouldn't expect to just, you know, put everything on the table and that person is just like accepting it all. Like, it has to be a two-way street, and I definitely choose my friends in that matter. And I've actually, now with some people, you know, you put them in a category, so you categorize them. Some people, you know that you can't get much out of them, and that is okay because God has placed you in their lives to, you know, minister to them. But when we are talking about my ace boon coon, I mean my friend where I just want to relax, you know, I just want to have fun, you have to figure out, like, okay, which friends are my friends that I can lean on, that we can both contribute to the friendship, and then who are my friends or mentees or whatever who I know that when we're together, I'm working. You know, I am on minister mode. I am on, you know, all right, let me minister to this person, let me do this, let me do that. Like, being able to categorize, I think that's very important too. But when we talk about sisterhood, I'm very big on, you know, what can you contribute to the sisterhood? What are you bringing, you know, to the table?
I don't have a lot of, I mean, I think that one of the reasons why, you know, I'm a little, like, my friendship criteria is high.
Okay.
I don't have any kind of wiggle room. You know, like, I'll leave you, my friend, you know, in a heartbeat. Like, you have one time to mess up, and there's no backseats for me. I mean, and so I'm so serious about that thing. And the bottom line is, like, I don't, you know, people pay me to counsel them. I don't need a friend. Like, if my big toe hurts, and that isn't the biggest thing I have going on in my life, I need to be okay, share that to you, and not be uncomfortable because your world is falling apart. You know, and so if you've always got the world falling down on you, and like I said, my biggest issue is my big toe hurting, how can I share that with you when you got so much going on? But you have one time, you know, to fall short of that criteria, and I see you. You know, and so that makes the circle smaller. I don't have any tolerance. If you're my girl and you know me, you know what my tolerance levels are, and if you fall short on that, you gone, and I won't look back.
There are definitely certain things that are like quick ways to get blocked out of my life. Like, something I recently experienced was something really, really good had just happened to me, and I told one of my closest friends, and like, her response was like, "Oh, okay, that's what's up." And I'm like, this is something that, you know, I've been working for and praying for pretty much like all my life, and she was like, "Oh, okay." You know, so it's like, it's those little things, you know, that I really, really pay attention to. Like, every time I call you, you giving me bad news, you know, or those friends where, you know, when you call them, it's always about them, you know, and when I try to sneak in something like, "Oh, well, you know, I actually had a good day today," and they're like, "Oh, okay, but you know, like I was saying about me," you know, it's like those me friends, you know, and it's like, you know, you selfish, I'm selfish, that's not good. It got to be some balance, you know, so yeah, like, and I'm glad that I'm actually at this place in my life, because like, I know like what I can accept, and I know, like you were saying, what I will tolerate and what I won't tolerate, you know, and to be unapologetic about that, you know, because there was a time where I was like, "Oh, well, no, I have to accept them. I have to, you know, they're my project, they're this, or I'm their project, you know, it's okay, it's gonna work out." And little did I know, they were so draining, and when we would hang up the phone, I would have a headache because I was taking on their issues and trying to solve their problems. And one thing my dad always teaches is, and I know I'm butchering his statement, but he always says that you are the passing point. You are not the holding point.
Okay.
When people give you your problems, when people tell you their problems or whatever, you pass them right on to God. You are not the holding point. You are not the final destination. And I never forgot that. Because I think just it's in me to try to help people, and I really think that's a gift from God. But I also think God has brought me to a place where He's like, "Okay, listen, I want you to minister to people, I want you to help people, and I want other people to minister to you, but sometimes I just want you to kind of pass them up to me and then enjoy your life. Because I would be happy, having a good time, living my life, and then I would call her, and then I'm like, dang. and these aren't even my issues, you know, but it's just, you know, it's just that gift of love, you know, that we have for people, that we tend to accept their problem.
Well, I'll say that if I'm in it, I'm in it. So that's just kind of the temperament that I have, because I think that sometimes we're too quick to throw our sisters away. And the reality is every relationship comes with something. So but I do think that you should rejoice when I rejoice, you should mourn when I mourn. And that's what the word of God says. So if I'm your friend, I'm going to, man, you tell me you got something going on, we not popping bottles, you know, but we are excited, you know, it's a big deal. And when it's my turn, I'm expecting that we'll all be excited together. But when you're going through a tough time and you're going through a valley season, then I want to be there in that valley with you for as much as I can. I don't want to be held to thinking that I'm the only thing that will ever get you through this valley, because that's very draining, and I don't have the strength for that because of all that I have going on. But relationships can be hard with friends. I mean, I've been in a friendship where it felt like a friend relationship. I mean, I never broke up with a friend except for this one. And it was really kind of sad, because it got to a point where she was like, well, you told the kids you were going to be here. And we're, you know, my daughter's sitting around here waiting on you, thinking you were coming. And it was just this brash and just brutal attack if I disappointed her. Or so I got to a point where I said, you know, I can't do this anymore. Like, I had to actually denounce the friendship. I don't know what you expect from me, but I know that I can't handle your level of commitment that you're expecting from me. I'm feeling like you're asking me to fill in to be your child's father, your boyfriend. I cannot do any of that, and I'm done. So since that moment, if I see that person, I can be very cordial. I can give a hug, because I still love her, but I just know that it was toxic for me to remain in that friendship.
That's what I was saying. Like, with hills and valleys, if you're always having a hill and valley, that's what I mean. Now, by all means, I agree. Like, if you have someone that is going through a tough time, because I've been through tough times, and it has been my sisters that have brought me out of those tough times. But what I can't deal with, and what I won't deal with, is you're always always going through a tough time. There's always something wrong. You're always being a negative Nancy. You're always ungrateful. You're always no.
And so, see, for me, you know, I mean, the throwing away of the friendship is, like, communication is big to me. And so, you know, if we're friends, there's nothing you can't say to me. There's nothing I can't say to you. And so that's established in my friendship from the very beginning. And so if you know, and I'll give you a case in point. So there was a friend that I had, and she was getting married. And, I mean, we were friends. And so I expected to be in her wedding. And so, you know, she said to me, oh yeah, you know, I took the bridesmaids, you know, and I paid for half of their dress, and we did this weekend. And so I went with her to try her dress on, and she's having this conversation. And so I was like, she took the bridesmaids last week, but I didn't go. And so we're driving, and I said, so am I not your wedding? And so she was like, well, no. She said, because I didn't have anyone for you to walk with. You know, your husband didn't want to be in the wedding. So I was like, okay. And so I felt some kind of way behind that. She would decide that my youngest son was going to be at the wedding. And she's like, well, you know, I want you to, you know, when they cut the cake, you know, make sure that the cake cutter, you know, they get that stuff. So I was like, I said, no, I'm good. I'll be okay just being a guest. So for whatever reason, my son couldn't be in the wedding. I went to the wedding. Everything was fine. I got called a couple of times. Hey, how you doing? Always got like voice, like I couldn't get you. Like you could never, you know, after the wedding was over, I could never reach you. So I stopped calling you.
Oh yeah.
And so then several months later, you know, I get this call from you, and you're saying, oh, you were upset because, you know, my son was supposed to be in the wedding, and he couldn't be in the wedding, and that really kind of threw everything off. And so my response was, you waited 4 months to have this conversation. There is nothing you could have said to me. You know, nothing you couldn't have said to me 4 months ago. I didn't even know you was upset. You made me keep calling you, and you didn't respond. And so that changed the whole trajectory of our relationship.
I can see
you know, because I was just like, we're this close, and you felt uncomfortable having a conversation with me. You could have said to me that, listen, you may be mad, and this is, okay, you don't know what kind of friendship you have, unless you have a great argument and you get through it.
That's one thing I actually admire about men and women sometimes too. But I know men, they do not hold grudges.
No.
Like, and it's like my dad will do something like silly, and you know my mom will be like, you know, why would you do that? And then like the next day, they're like kissing. He's like trying to, not even the next day actually, like 30 minutes later, he's like. And like my mom, like they understand each other, but like I'm watching it like, oh no, I wouldn't, oh no, like how can you just like, no, I don't understand it. Same for like one of my ex-boyfriends, like he was very like a nonchalant type of guy, but he was the same way. Like he would do certain things, or I would say things that like may have made him mad or something, and he would just be like, oh okay, like after a few hours or something, like, and I never understood that about men. Like they do not hold grudges like within themselves too, because like being at Spelman and then being, you know, right next to Morehouse, you know, I had a lot of, well, I didn't have a whole bunch, but, you know, a few of my male friends, like, they would get in an argument, the two guys, and then, like, 10 minutes later, they popping bottles together. Like, I'm just like, how could y'all, if that was
women
me,
hold on to stuff.
what is up with that? Like, and I really think that messes up the sisterhood. You know, there are small things that have completely destroyed, you know, sisterhood, the sisterly relationships that people have, and it starts off as something small, and then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger, and I think that's one thing to be like really mindful, and I think I love the part that you said about communication, because that is very, very important. Like I know sometimes with women, you know, sometimes we're upset about something, we hold it in, and then we hold it in, hold it in, and then one day something really so small makes us mad, and then we blow up, and we're like, why are they so mad over something like that? And we don't realize that was a manifestation of something that was so small that continued to grow, you know? And so I definitely think communication is very, very important in maintaining sisterhood and
with sisterhood, you have to set the standard. You know what I mean? I'm so big on standard, no matter what the relationship is. And so I've got to teach my sister how to treat me. You know, I mean, she can't expect to know unless I don't kind of mirror, you know, that for her. Like I had a situation a couple of weeks ago, and I had to call, you know, my good girlfriend, and you know, again, because my communication level and style may be different from somebody else's, and so I need to make sure that I'm not offending you by how I communicate. You know, and I called her up and I said to her on the phone, I said, what kind of friend do you want me to be? And she was like, what? And I said, what kind of friend do you want me to be? And she didn't really understand. And I said, you know, I need to know, you know, if it's okay for me to say, I never want you to not be able to tell me something because you're afraid of how I'm going to take it. I said, so do you want me to be the friend who's always going to be honest with you, no matter how it may feel? Or do you want me to be the friend who just kind of gives you the nod of the head and never really say what I'm thinking? You know, and so she was just like, okay, well, just don't be mean. And she was like, whatever you say it in love. And so I said, okay, and so that opened up our relationship. So now that you know I'm going to be that kind of friend, then I'm going to give it to you. You know, and no matter how harsh it comes out, it's going to be in love. And so I taught that person, you know, this is how I communicate. And so now, therefore, as sisters, as friends, we're good. You know, we have that bond. And so, you know, when it comes to sisterhood, we have to be able to really teach each other, you know, how to communicate, interact with one another.
I think that, like, there's certain things about my sisters, or there may be things about me that are really annoying, right? But they're character traits or personality traits that really can't go away. But if the greater good is what you see in me, and overall, my pattern is that I'm reliable, I'm loving, I'm trustworthy, because the baseline of every relationship is trust, right? We can't even have a friendship if I can't trust you. That's not trying to deal with that. But if all of those things exist, and I have that one or two things that just irk your nerves, or they're friends of mine who may have them for me, I'm looking past all that, because the reality is you're never going to find a perfect friend. You're never going to be a perfect friend. You can't. So don't even try to act like, you know, you're so awesome. You're great. You're wonderful. But you're not a perfect friend. You're not a perfect anything. So looking at the fact that you have flaws, when you're looking at their flaws, and thanking God that they accept you, flaws and all.
And sometimes our flaws is what makes us compatible. You know, that whole iron sharpened iron, and you know, you compliment me, you know, and so I think, like I said, when we're talking about, you know, sisterhood, I think that sometimes we as women, we struggle, you know, with missing the importance of it.
Mm-hmm.
You
It's
know,
necessary.
and so I mean, I talk to anyone, you know, who's out there, like sisterhood is important, you know, and sisterhood isn't about who has the same DNA, you know, or who you're born into the family with.
Nope.
Because sometimes my greatest sisters aren't even the ones that have the same biological makeup.
Yeah.
You know, and so get into a sister circle.
Mm-hmm.
When I realized that I wanted to have that whole sisterhood, I joined a group, and it's called My Sister's Keeper, and it was like about 6 or 7 women who I didn't know, you know, and we kind of got together. And when we did things in the community, like we wrapped gifts,
Yeah, I
we
love that.
supported
Yeah.
like a women's shelter, you know, I mean, we kind of dispersed because people have moved, but like we still shout out each other's birthdays. And so there's that connection that kind of continues on over the course of time. But just the fact that it was so relevant and necessary, I went looking for it.
Right. That's deep. And I think that people, because of their pride, won't go and be honest enough to pursue what they desire. So there may be a sisterhood or a relationship that didn't work, but try again. Try a new circle. Like you said, a circle that's doing things that you enjoy. If it's community outreach, if it is going to the movies, or if it is, you know, walking. You had a lot of black girl run groups and walking groups and exercise and whatever, gardening, whatever you're into. Don't be too afraid to put yourself out there, because the reality is if you don't put yourself out there, you're going to stay exactly where you are.
Yeah, that's hard. I don't want to cut you off, but like that's hard, you know, because like there are, like I see people at my church, and I know that, you know, they have different little groups that do things,
Yeah.
and it's like I want to be a part of that, but I don't know how to interject myself. Like I'm waiting for the invitation, and the invitation is not coming, and so what I do, like hey, what y'all doing? Or I saw y'all do,
I know, right?
you know, and so that makes it kind of difficult because like I want to be a part, but I don't know how to be a part.
We got to be more receiving as women as well.
Yeah, I think it that comes naturally. Like, I think I kind of went through a phase in my life where, like, I know when I first went to Spelman, I called my dad, and I don't know if I think I told you, I tell the story all the time, but my dad had literally, my parents had just dropped me off at school, and I called him, and I was like, Daddy, I don't fit in here. And he was like, you've been on campus for 30 minutes. Like, you know, and he was like, you have to get out there. You have to be vulnerable. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like, make yourself friendly, you know? And so I was like, okay. So I sat in my room. I had a really bad roommate. I hope she's not watching right now. And so I was like, I got to get out of here. And so I literally, and this is no lie, I went to every single room. I don't recommend this, but I went to every single room at Spelman, knocked on the door, and I introduced myself. And to this day, those girls that I introduced myself to are my closest friends. That was freshman year. That was my sister circle. My whole 3.5 years I was at Spelman. Those girls. And so we had small dorms. We didn't have any heat. We were tight knit. And so I went on every single door. Hi, my name is Danielle. What's your name? And they would be looking like, who is this? Some of them, and you know what? You know what's crazy? Majority of them were like, oh my gosh, thank you for coming. Oh my God. And I would sit on their beds and we would talk and we would have the best conversations. And then the next day when I would see them on campus or at class, they'd be like, hey, you the girl that was knocking on my door. And then, you know, like, it's now, would I do that now? Obviously not. But doing that as a 17-year-old who was scared out of her wits, I've never left my parents before, who really, really desperately wanted to, you know, kind of fit in or to feel accepted. That was the best thing, you know, that I did. But I say all that to say that I think when we talk about creating sisterhood is, you know, definitely putting yourself out there, being vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's okay because your vulnerability will attract other people that are vulnerable as well. And if you guys can form that sisterly bond, and that's what you guys have in common, the fact that you guys both are interested in standing together and taking that next foot into, you know, next step into doing something new, you know. So I appreciate it. It's so many other instances. Y'all probably think I was like a creep, but like there were so many other instances, and I actually wish, because like my freshman and sophomore year I was like really, really like out, and then like my junior year, I don't know why, like I kind of took a step back. I was like, I'm gonna just, you know, chill out, and I wish that I would have continued to be like that person that was like, in people's face, like, hey, you know. But I think at that point I kind of reached a place where like I already had my group, and I think that's another thing too. Like just because you have your sisterly group, it's okay to have more friends. Like, and when you have friends that make you feel bad for having other friends, those are not your real friends. Because I've dealt with that as well. If you have, you know, you have a best friend, and I actually had a best friend who got like she would be really really upset when I would bring up, you know, things that I was doing with my other friends, and I'm like, you are my best friend. These are my friends. Like they don't get the best friend title, but she would get upset about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like being open to like not being so closed up. Like, oh, I already have my own friends. I already have my clique. I don't need new friends. Like, no, you are missing out.
Multiple friends.
You are missing out on so many things by rejecting the people that God may be bringing into your life.
Yes. I mean, that's true. And I think that the whole notion is the song of no new friends. You know, that and friends are not about the time period. You may have met a friend just a year ago or just 6 months ago who you really, 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 really click with. Now, if we can say there's a such thing as love at first sight, why can't we be friends like that? I mean, we really give men so much more than we would give women, and we need each other. We need each other because we know that a strong society is often built on the backs of women because we support the men who go out there and do what's necessary to take care of business. So I don't know. I'm past the notion of no new friends. I'm open to new relationships and new connections. So hit me up. I'm just kidding. Just kidding. But no, I'm
single, ready to mingle for friends.
For friends.
Friends
just
only.
Friendly. Because Mike Tomlin is not having it. Please be advised.
So I guess my final thought would be, I know we talked about sisterhood and the importance of friendship, but I think the most important way to develop a sister circle is to seek God. God, allow me to be able to have the discernment and wisdom to choose the right friends. Remove anybody that can, you know, disconnect me from God, from you, or distract me from fulfilling the purpose that you have for my life. So definitely have that talk with God when you're meeting new people or you're talking to new people. Ask God, like, okay, Lord, is this someone that you will want in my life? Is this someone that is going to be supporting the purpose that you have designated for my life?
Yes. And my final thought would be, you know, I am my sister's keeper.
Yeah.
You know, you are your sister's keeper. And so be the kind of sister that you want to have.
Yeah, I was going to say almost exactly that. Be the friend that you want to be. So if you want to call back, call people back. If you want to text back, text. Changing it, show up. Show up for your friends. I mean, because there's nothing like if I'm having a big event and I look out there and there's certain people who just should be there.
Come on.
You should be there. Show up for your friends. Now, life happens. But if it's the exception and not the norm, you're good. But if you normally just never show up, then are you really a friend, or you just benefiting from a friendship? I think that we should both be better because of this. And there are certain moments in my life that I just need you to be there if you're my friend.
Well, thank you for tuning in to Queens Chronicles, the series, and we will see you next time on what, ladies?
Queens Chronicles, the series.
See you next time.
Bye-bye.